Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan the Organizer. You know the person on my right, but if you don't, Yvan Lacroix, how are you?
Great, yourself?
So he's the owner of DIY Detail, but also of C6 Ceramics. If you don't know what it is, I highly recommend that you go watch my previous video on the application of a C6 ceramic on my own brand new 2024 Porsche Cayenne S. It is insanely gorgeous, the results. You're going to see all the details for the application, the prep. I also did a first wash, decon wash. If you guys want to see all of that, it's on the channel. But today, Yvan is going to be here to explain to us basically what these coatings are, because there are some for professionals, but also for DIYers as well. Brand new lineup. When did you start this lineup, Yvan?
Well, it came to market this year, or 2024,
Yep.
but we've been preparing it since 2019.
Fantastic. So many years in the making. They have awesome chemists working for them. So this video here is to basically explain what all this technology is, because it's been a tradition now for my 3 last vehicles. Yvan's already around, always around, I mean, to help me install something amazing. We want the bleeding edge of technology. And as you guys know, coatings have been around for a while now. There's always a new coating that pops up, new coating brands every single week, or every single month. So I like to know what's behind them, who makes them, but more importantly, what distinguishes these coating from everything else. Quick disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. Nobody paid for this video. Yvan's here to explain all of this. And of course, we applied this on my vehicle. And by the way, I'll leave links to all these cool products and tools in the description under the video. If you guys want to check them out, all you have to do is sit back, relax, enjoy the show. And we're going to indulge in a lot of technical details. So Yvan, I see here behind me 2 different coatings from the C6 brand, which by the way, C6 Ceramics is a sister company to DIY Detail, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And the name C6 comes from the table of elements.
Okay.
So
Carbon?
Carbon, C6, and diamond is the only gemstone that is made from 100% carbon.
Okay.
So that's where we came up with the name.
Because there's a little bit of detonated nano diamonds. We're going to get to that,
Yes.
right? So if you want to explain to us, first of all, I see 2 different versions. So we have the C6 Ceramics Diamond Gloss. So this one here, I'm told, is for the ones who really want to emphasize the gloss on the vehicle. And you have the one we applied on my Porsche Cayenne S Coupe, and this is the C6 Hydro.
Exactly.
So what are these 2? What technologies are in them, and in which scenario would you use either one?
So the technology for both of them is actually the same. But to maximize gloss, we need to accentuate a few things. To accentuate hydrophobics, we need to work a couple of other things. But the basic building blocks are the same. So first of all, we're using a blending process that's a little different. It's reactive blending. And the reactive blending is also in the DIY. But basically, if I were to give you all the ingredients pre-measured, you still couldn't make the coating.
Okay.
Because it takes time, it takes pressures, and it takes temperatures when we're mixing it together.
Yeah.
And a batch, for the DIY, it's about a week and a half to do a batch. For the C6, it's about 2 weeks. So and that is controlled pressures, controlled temperatures, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Mixing times, all that fun stuff. The basic building blocks of all the coatings that you see here are polysilazane. So polysilazane is a very well-known coating ingredient for industrial coatings. It's heavy, it's chemically resistant, it's marring resistant, it's abrasion resistant. Then we have silicon carbide.
Okay.
Silicon carbide, same thing. But silicon carbide adds gloss, but it's extremely chemically resistant. A silicon carbide, if you have a pure silicon carbide, that's probably one of the most chemically resistant coatings you can have. Then we have silicon dioxide, SiO2. Everyone knows that one.
Yes.
Just about every coating in the world has SiO2 in it for a reason. It performs. It does what it's supposed to do. It brings you gloss. It brings you a bit of slickness. It helps in that building block. The next one is something that not many people have, and that's silicon nitride. And silicon nitride is a flexible ceramic.
Okay.
So think of it as the glue that's holding everything else together.
Yes.
And coatings fail not because of chemical abuse, not because of the person using it, well, sometimes, but the basic failure point for a well-maintained coating is fracturing. And fracturing happens hot and cold cycles.
Expansion, contraction.
Yeah, expansion, contraction, vibration, all sorts of things. So your coating is actually still on the surface, but 2, 5, 10, however many years later, it's not performing anymore. You don't have that gloss that you once had. You don't have that slickness. You don't have the water behavior. And that's because of fracturing. So if you think of the desert floor, get the desert floor wet, it's beautiful. It's a nice
uniform kind of appearance.
Uniform sheet.
Yeah.
Then as it starts to dry out, you get these clumps.
Yes.
The sand and everything is still there, but now there's fractures or fissures between it.
Absolutely.
That's what's happening with the silicon nitride, or that's what's happening with coatings.
Okay.
And the silicon nitride helps prevent that.
So it gives a bit more flexibility, maybe?
More flexibility and more resilience.
Okay.
So it makes it not impervious, but almost impervious to fracture.
Got it.
The last item, and you alluded to it, is refined detonated nanodiamonds. And try saying it.
Wait, a lot of people might say that's snake oil. We've heard this from one or two
Yeah.
brands. We're not sure.
Yeah.
Diamonds, okay.
Right.
Explain that.
Detonated nanodiamonds, first of all, are a fun thing to produce.
Okay.
You take a big metal sphere, you put a piece of carbon in the middle, and you explode it. That explosion creates pressure, creates heat. To convert carbon to a diamond, you need pressure and heat.
Yes.
Now, the Earth did it by stacking Earth on top of it for
Natural diamonds.
yeah, for a lot of centuries.
Yes.
Or
Millenniums.
Yeah, millenniums. Yeah. Whereas we do it in an explosion. Now, on the outside of that sphere, or on the inside of the sphere, are harvested the detonated nanodiamonds.
Okay.
Then they're refined. And the refining process is, first of all, putting them through different size sieves to get the exact size particle that we want.
Yes.
And then they get milled. And that milling process makes the surface rough.
Okay.
So like milling flour, same sort of idea. So makes them all uniform, but makes the surface rough. And the detonated nanodiamonds, again, they're doing pretty much the same thing as the silicon nitride, keeping everything together. So that's why we can call it a lifetime coating.
Okay.
Because of that. We know that it's not going to fracture. We've basically made a fracturing-proof coating. The other superpower of the refined detonated nanodiamonds,
Yes.
water spot resistance.
Oh, so that's why they don't have the graphene in there.
Exactly.
So that would take place.
Yeah,
Okay.
not water spot proof, water spot
Yes.
resistant,
Okay.
but it definitely helps dramatically with water spot resistance.
So that's the main reason why you had the nano
the
detonated
the
diamonds?
refined detonated nanodiamonds,
Yes.
longevity, fracturing are the main components or the
Okay.
main reasons.
Okay.
But the secondary reason, and the reason we don't have graphene, because we could have incorporated graphene
Yes.
into the
Yes.
formula,
Yeah.
is the refined detonated nanodiamonds do that for us.
So another plus, let's
Exactly,
say, in the
yeah.
formulation as well.
Right.
That's amazing. Those, by the way, are formulated by your chemist. This is not something
No,
that
no,
you
no.
sourced overseas, or so is this made in the USA?
Everything is made in the USA.
I know that's important for a lot of my viewers. The majority of my audience is from US of A, so the biggest portion, the number one most represented country. And I know a lot of Americans love when things are made and sourced in the USA, so that's a big thing. Same
Yep.
thing for the DIY detail, right?
Exactly.
You guys have your chemists in-house,
Yep.
so this is not outsourced. They do their own stuff. Some smart guys, by the way. If their chemists are watching, I have to give you a shout out and a thumbs up. Many of you guys know I have a degree in biochemistry, molecular biology. So geeking out with the tech behind it has been so much fun. Hopefully I'll get to talk maybe one day to the chemists behind it, because I think they did a tremendous job. So you're saying that these two will essentially last the lifetime of your vehicle?
They will last the lifetime of the vehicle if you properly maintain it.
Okay.
And if it was properly prepped. So
Yes, that is key. And we have here something that we'll talk about too,
Yeah.
the app. So
Right.
the Adhesion Promoter Polish, which is something that's absolutely required, right?
Yes.
Before you apply these two.
Definitely.
So it's not optional, it's
no,
mandatory.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not a if you want to. It's if you don't, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Well, the coatings are going to work, but you're not going to get the longevity out of the coating that you desire.
Got it.
You're not going to get the gloss out of it. You saw the gloss change on your Porsche
Oh.
when we did this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, the detonated or the refined detonated nanodiamonds are really an active part of the formula.
Okay.
It's not just a buzzword. There are buzzwords in the industry.
Yes.
This is not one of them. It's
Yeah.
too long to be a buzzword anyways.
Okay.
Refined detonated nanodiamonds. Try saying that 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, not going to try, right? But anyways, that's what C6 Diamond, Gloss, and Hydro are. Now, Diamond Gloss, as the name implies, it's all about gloss.
Okay.
So the weekender car, the one that isn't the daily driver, the one that you're taking to Cars and Coffee, and you want the glossiest, shiniest car you could ever have, that's what Diamond Gloss is.
That's the one.
And then the Hydro, as the name implies, hydrophobics. So it has gloss, it has the protection, but it also has hydrophobics like you've never seen before.
And of course, the one we chose on my vehicle, I went for this one.
Right.
Because I wanted the crazy. I've seen clips
Yes.
of the hydrophobic properties on this. You'll see some eventually on
Yeah.
my vehicle as well. The hydrophobic, so the water beading, the sheeting, I've never seen before. There's something about, and also self-cleaning, I'm told,
Yes.
too, is very, very good. I know a few guys have been testing this for a while, and they told me, Pan, I'm telling you, this is the best coating we've ever tested. So obviously you're going to see the progression as the years come on
Yep.
my channel. But actually, let me give you a quick look, if I can just grab the camera here, so you guys can see what the vehicle looks like. So we finished applying this a few hours ago, and already it looks absolutely amazing. Look at that. Look at that. The gloss, it pops, and it's going to get better as the days and weeks go by. But Ivan, I think you said there's only an hour of curing needed on this.
Correct.
And then people can drive in the elements, and then
Yep.
7 days without washing or drying the vehicle. So we still need to apply tire dressing, but I mean, this is insane. Look at that. So before we continue on with the rest, I mean, come on. Yeah, this is, so for those who think hydro is only about water beading and sheeting, no, you're definitely still getting the gloss effect absolutely on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So regardless of which one you're getting, the gloss is still insane. But for those who want the bleeding edge and gloss, the diamond gloss.
Yep.
And for those who want absolute perfection in water behavior, definitely the hydro.
Yeah, definitely.
And for the application, so of course they can watch the video that we made, but if you can just go over what, generally speaking, a professional detailer would need to do before applying the coating.
Yeah. First of all, correct the paint to the customer's satisfaction.
Okay.
It has to be It has to be perfectly clean. It has to be free of anything other than the paint.
So iron remover, synthetic decontamination towel.
Right.
Remove any contaminants embedded in the clear coat, obviously.
Right. Water spot remover.
Yep.
You name it. It has to be done. Then polish to the customer's content.
Yes.
If it's a brand new car, it may not need polishing. And then the app. So the adhesion promoter polish. This is a very important step and one that can't be skipped. And the adhesion promoter polish is a little different. You've heard of primer polishes.
Yes.
Primer polishes deposit something into the clear coat to make the coating adhere better. They work great. We're doing it a little differently. We're actually taking as much out of the clear coat as we can. So think of it as a really deep cleaner that's being done with a polisher.
Okay.
But at the same time, we are leaving just few little things behind.
Okay.
And that is a bit of polysiloxane and a bit of SiO2. But what we're doing is we're actually swelling the paint. And in swelling the paint, the polysiloxane and the SiO2 is there to keep it in the swollen state open so that when we apply the coating almost melts into the paint.
Yes.
And you saw it when we were applying it.
Yeah.
High spots are, if you get a high spot, you're going to be working really
applying
hard.
too much, yeah.
Yeah, but it almost self-levels. And that is because of that, the pores of the paint being so open, we're not depositing the coating on the paint, we're depositing the coating in the paint.
Because don't forget also, guys, your clear coat is basically hills and valleys, yes, but if you were to look at it from a microscope perspective, it's kind of like a sponge, right?
Right.
So it's a structure of many different meshes. So what this APP does, or the app, it kind of blows that cell structure up, as you said.
Right.
So it makes it to swell, and then, so it's an adhesion promoter because it's going to promote better bonding, I guess, of your coating on top, right?
Yeah, better mechanical bonding and a better coalescent bond as well. So a better chemical bond, but definitely a better mechanical bond as well, because
So
now
something physical.
those pores are open and we're filling the pores with the coating. That's why the coating seems to disappear into the paint, because
Yes.
that's literally what we're doing.
Yes, and you're probably going to have an overall effect of a bigger thick film build compared with a typical 1 or 2 microns from a typical ceramic coating
Right.
that you'd apply on it, because you're swelling that paint and you're allowing a lot more of it to bond deeper into those roots or that structure.
Exactly.
Should we say? It's as if you're adding more coating on top.
Right, so it's like taking the sponge and then taking some peanut butter and working it into the sponge.
Yes.
You get that thicker layer.
Absolutely.
Instead of just trying to spread it on your toast in the morning. That's
Yep.
probably a better alternative.
Yes.
But yeah, so if your toast is warm, your peanut butter sinks in and goes deeper into the toast. Same idea.
And it's one layer, right?
One layer.
So not a multiple layer system. I love that. I've
Yeah.
said many times on this channel that the future is going to 1 layer systems. I think gone are the days now of 3, 5, 7, 8 layers. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate that. And so you're more efficient in time, but also the fact that you can release this to customers an hour later.
1 hour.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
So even if it's snowing, raining, whatever it is,
raining.
drive it outside and you're good to go. So you're freeing your shop up, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're freeing your shop up. So as a professional detailer,
Yeah.
as a coating company, I don't want to pay rent in your shop. And if I'm telling you to keep it there for 8 hours, I should be the one paying rent. I don't want to pay rent in anyone's shop. So
No.
if it's raining 1 hour, if it's sunny out, the customer can drive away.
Okay.
If there's no rain in the forecast for the next hour,
Yes.
this can leave.
Absolutely.
If you're a mobile detailer, you're doing it outside, you can do it outside. It's not an issue. And again, 1 hour, as long as there's no rain in the forecast for 1 hour, you're fine.
You're good. And
Yeah.
then 7 days, don't wash your car.
7 days to wash. That's an industry standard, and
Yes.
it's there for a reason. A lot of people think it's because of the surfactants. Part of it is the first 2 or 3 days it's the surfactants, but it's more about pressure than anything else.
Okay.
Because we've applied the coating to the surface.
Yep.
It's formed a crust, but the bond between it and the clear coat, especially on a topical coating, as opposed to one that's using the app, but a topical coating, especially, that pressure can actually sort of rip the bond between the coating and the paint below it. So it's not something you see. It's not something physically it changes anything now, but in time, it's going to possibly make that coating fail.
Absolutely. So another thing, so we spoke about, there's the gloss, there's definitely the slickness that I can already feel that would only improve. There's the self-cleaning properties. Is there UV protection built in there?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so you're adding, because of course the majority of the UV, you've explained this to me in the past, but comes from your clear coat. That's
Exactly,
where the majority of the UV blockers are. But if you can add even a bit more in your protection, why not? Chemical resistance, what kind of pH range are we looking at?
2 to 13.
So 2 to 13, very low on the acidic side and pretty much at the top of the range almost for the alkaline side. So very wide range. So you shouldn't be worried of what you're applying to it. If a person was to have no other choice but to bring it to an automatic car wash, as long as they don't use those ones with bristles that create mechanical abrasion, that's not good for anything because you're going to abrade the protection and you're going to create swirls and scratches. But a touchless automatic car wash, should this be able to resist it no problem?
Easily.
So they shouldn't be worried about that.
No problems whatsoever.
So that's good because sometimes, depending on your pH resistance, right, you can weaken the coating if you're using those too often. But this one here is no problem for those who don't have time to wash their car at home.
Exactly. And if you're going through an automatic car wash like that, what's happening at the end is actually what's masking your coating. You have those blowers that are not, they're taking some of the water away. And on this, they'll take a lot of the water away.
Yeah.
But also they're evaporating some of the water.
Yes.
And that water is leaving mineral deposits on there that eventually are going to mask your coating. A few seconds with a water spot remover,
and boom, there you go.
It's back.
And if we're talking about, so a lot of you guys probably asking, what do I need to do for maintenance? Do you need any toppers that you have to apply every 2 to 3 months as we're used to with traditional coatings? How does it work with this one?
No.
Okay.
Keep it clean.
That's it.
Decontaminate as necessary. And decontamination, for someone that's working on a construction site, the car is outside 24/7, you might need to do it every 3 or 4 months. Someone like Pan that washes the car twice a week, it doesn't leave the garage if it's well, actually you do drive in the snow and all that, but nonetheless, it's daily driver. It's kept indoors though. It's extremely well maintained. He may never need to clay it. Did your previous Porsche?
They didn't need it.
No. So it's well maintained. So
and I use the ionized water when I'm washing my car.
Exactly.
So zero mineral buildup.
Yeah, exactly. So how you maintain it will give you the best life or performance out of it.
Okay.
Now the only way to remove the coating is abrasion.
Yes.
So as long as you're not abrading it, you're not going to remove the coating. You may be doing things to mask it, like using hard water, et cetera, but that can be undone as well.
So no topper needed, but if people do want...
if they want, yes.
I think you said that the DIY line, the DIY detail line that people are so used to, and I know a lot of you guys really like, they're absolutely compatible with this.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So quick beads, spray on, rinse off formula.
Yep.
If they want to use ceramic gloss as a drying aid, no problem.
No
Is
problem.
there anything else in the lineup that your Incredible Suds, obviously the shampoo, it will work fine?
Yeah, and you can use it. You can actually use the rinseless wash as a drying aid. So if you don't want to, even though ceramic gloss and quick beads have great beading and sheeting and all that fun stuff, you're actually going to be dulling the action of this particular coating.
Something else on top with different properties.
Right. Yeah. So in this case, you might just want to use rinseless wash as your drying aid.
And I have it right here.
Yeah. Because
256 to 1 dilution ratio. Standard.
It's our only dilution ratio.
Half an ounce to a gallon.
Yeah.
Yep.
4 milliliters to a liter. Yes. Yeah. But nonetheless, you can use that as your drying aid.
Okay.
And in the C6 line, it's may or may not be out by the time this video comes out, but we will also have a drying lubricant.
Okay.
So it's not a topper. It doesn't promote beading. It doesn't promote cheating. It just promotes a clean, lubricated surface for when you're going over it with your towel.
And leaves nothing behind.
Leaves nothing behind.
So let me ask you this now, because we're also going to talk, by the way, the DIY detail line for consumers has the 3, the 5, and the 8 year. Professionals can use them as well.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the differences between the 3. But for these 2 professional ones, you have also something coming for those who want the performance, but who are not detailing professionals, like many of my viewers out there, DIYers. Right. You're going to have what I'm told is the C6 Lite.
C6 Hydro Lite.
Hydro Lite. So if you can explain what that is, because everybody will be able to buy that one.
Right, exactly. So C6 Hydro, simplified. Okay. Not dumbed down, but simplified.
Okay.
So a different carrier solvent that makes it so it's a little slower in terms of reacting. So it gives you a little more time to work with.
Okay.
But still has the refined detonated nanodiamonds, the polysiloxane, the SiO2, the SiN, the SiC. So everything is there. It's just a lighter version of it. We're saying it's a 6-year coating. And if you're using the app beforehand, if you're doing all the steps that Pan did with the Porsche before, it's going to last much longer than that.
So that's like a baseline, but it could outperform.
Oh,
that
definitely,
claim,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so at a much lower price point, I guess?
Yes.
So what are we talking about if we talk about pricing? So for the ones for professionals, first of all, what are the prices that are projected or that are already existing? And how can people sign up to become installers of the professional line of C6?
Right. So the pricing of those we don't disclose.
Oh, okay.
But nonetheless, to be an installer, go to c6ceramics.com. There's a little tag that says become an installer, fill out the form, and we'll take it from there.
I can tell you this though, for my viewers who are professional detailers, I've applied and I've been around many professional level coatings that have cost hundreds of dollars more. So
yes.
I can tell you it's not inexpensive. However, you're getting the quality product and a lot of R&D behind and chemists that really know their job as well.
Yeah.
So they did something cool, but yeah, I highly encourage you, check that out. If you're tired of the coating brand you're working with, or if you're starting and want to offer those coating services, definitely check them out. So you'll kind of have an interview with them.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's a simplified process.
Simplified process.
Okay.
And we're not asking any detailer to be exclusive. If you're installing another brand, continue installing that other brand. But if you want to offer a premium offering, the highest or the best technology for your customers, then you can lead them to C6 as well.
Absolutely. And of course, I trust this man's advice over the years. He never steered me wrong. I've always had the latest and the greatest on my own vehicles. I put my mouth where my word is? My mouth? How do we say that?
Put your money where your mouth is.
My money where my mouth is, and we apply this on my own vehicle, so I'll be able to follow this in real time in years to come on the channel. You'll see the performance go, but so far I'm liking the looks. I can't wait to see the performance, especially over the coming months and over the next winter, right?
Yeah.
You guys are going to love that.
Exactly.
So C6 Lite, everybody will be able, C6 Hydro Lite,
right?
Anybody will be able to purchase that.
Right.
And for the Diamond and the Diamond Gloss and the C6 Hydro, the Pro range,
right,
you have to sign up to become distributors, installers.
Exactly.
Of that, but it's a simplified process as well.
Yeah, and we have distribution worldwide.
Okay.
So if you're in Canada, you don't need to order from the US. If you're in Europe, you're not ordering from the US. If you're in Australia, you're not ordering from the US. So, and other countries as well, but those are the major markets that we have.
Yes.
So the UK, EU, Australia, Canada, etc. We're there. We already have distribution set up. Hydro Lite, that one is $300 or $299.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and you'll get a 1.5 to 2 cars.
DIYers buy the app as well?
Definitely, yeah.
So is this still for the C6 Hydro Lite mandatory before you apply it?
If you want to get the best longevity out of your coating, you're using the app first.
Might as well do it. By the way, if you didn't see the install video yet, go check it out. This, I think a baby could apply this so easy. The wipe off, amazingly easy. This too will boost gloss, by the way, but the icing on the cake was the C6 Hydro. Not only, so you see that rainbowing, right? Kind of that oil slick on water kind of appearance that we're used to with coatings. Visual indicator, it's the time to start wiping or leveling. So when they were doing that, there were some times where I was looking and there was almost nothing left. The self-leveling characteristics of this is unlike anything I've ever seen. Wipe off was absolutely easy. Same wipe off as they always do.
Yeah.
So shorter nap towel for the first one, kind of pearl weave, and then a thicker plusher towel for your second wipe, the entrance wipe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's it. It's a cakewalk to do so.
Yep.
And next, so we spoke about the availability, how they'll be able to sign up. If they're DIYers, they can try the C6 Hydro Lite.
Exactly.
They can get the app as well. The maintenance products are already available if you want them because DIY Detail is very compatible. Although I think coming soon, you'll have a few things on the C6 line, right?
We'll have a few little things for C6, like the drying lubricant.
Yes.
And a ceramic infused soap. Or shampoo.
Yes.
pH neutral, does everything you want it to do, foams beautifully, etc., etc.
Yep.
But you can still use incredible suds. It's really up to you.
No problem.
Yeah.
And or if they have already pH neutral soaps they have at home,
by all means,
they can still use that.
Oh, yeah.
So no toppers needed, but of course I know a lot of you out there, myself included, every now and then you want to use a drying aid or something to boost even more that gloss, that slickness. Just note that of course, as Ivan said, the best performance is the raw hydrophobic properties of your coating. So if you can not apply anything that will alter that, or at least use something that is compatible within the DIY Detail line, I think those are very good words of advice. Yeah. The other thing that you guys are known for, obviously on the DIY Detail side, is your 3 ceramic coatings.
Right.
You guys have probably seen the video I made on the Audi RS6 with the reveal with the customer. Customer was blown away. The coating is not only doing amazingly well, but it was so easy to apply. But I know through the questions, a lot of you sometimes have questions because they have 3 different ones, right? So they have the 3-year, which is their graphene coating. They have the 5-year ceramic coating. And last but not least, in the DIY Detail line, they have the 8-year ceramic coating. So Ivan, why 3 different versions? Obviously, we have it lasts 3 years, 5 years, and 8 years. But what more can you say about the tech? Who is each one for?
Okay, so the 3-year is our graphene infused coating.
Okay.
Now the graphene is in the formula. It's replacing a lot of the silicon nitride.
Okay.
That's why the durability is a little reduced, sorry.
Yes.
But the other thing that the graphene does, and the real reason we have graphene in a formula is water spot resistance.
That's what graphene was supposed to be for when they first added this,
Yeah.
when it became a buzzword, because some are not using it for the right reasons, but here in this application, it is to help prevent, not fully eliminate, but at least reduce the amount of water spotting.
Reduce the possibility of water spotting.
Yeah.
And it does so. So we've all seen the marketing image that there looks like this lattice work over a football field.
Yes.
That's not true. The graphene does something like that, but think of it as little islands of graphene because we're hand applying. We're not laying this out in a sheet.
Yeah.
We're not spraying it on. We're hand applying. So we're getting little clumps of graphene that are fairly close together, but there's 10 or 12 molecules here. There's 15 molecules there. There's 5 over here. But they're close enough together that the water molecule bridges them. So the mineral isn't going between them. But eventually those little islands break up into smaller islands, and eventually that lattice work that's between all the pieces isn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're giving it a 3-year rating, because it normally takes 3 to 4 years for the graphene to break down that way through fracturing.
Got it. So that you'd be losing a bit of those initial properties that
Exactly.
you were seeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you paid for a graphene coating, meaning your main intention was water spot resistance. That water spot resistance is going to go down after about 3 years.
Okay.
The coating is still there. The coating is still performing.
Yes.
In terms of sheeting, in terms of beading, in terms of hydrophobics, in terms of gloss. But the main characteristic that you paid for is a little bit reduced.
Got it.
Now, it's also our lowest cost coating because of the reduced silicon nitride. Silicon nitride is one of the most expensive components of the coating.
Yeah.
Therefore, it has a little less silicon nitride, a little lower cost.
Okay.
Next, we have our 5-year coating. And the 5-year coating, as you mentioned, the king of gloss.
Yes.
That is what people have named it. That wasn't our name for it. But it is extremely glossy. And again, through fracturing over time, that gloss component is going to go away.
Okay.
Now, this one, again, a little bit reduced on the silicon nitride because we can't have everything. So if you want additional gloss, you need to reduce the silicon nitride because it's not particularly glossy, and you need to increase the SiO2 and the SiC, the silicon carbide.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening with that one. But super glossy, and like I say, in 5 years or so, the gloss level is going to go down if you maintain it properly. If you wash your car like Pan, his previous Porsche had been here 3 years. He'd driven it winter, summer, everything. The dealer could not find any blemish on the vehicle.
No.
Not at all. And I've seen this man's cars live in person, and after 3 years, trust me, he has no blemishes because he maintains them properly.
Yeah.
follow his channel. Subscribe if you're not, by the way.
That's the whole point, is to help you guys have better results at home
Yeah.
and also be comfortable. I think education is important.
Exactly.
So people understand what processes are needed to keep your car looking amazing for years to come.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't apply the coating yourself and you had a professional apply, for example, one of the C6 coatings, well, that you can keep them looking as good as day one over years to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have our 8-year coating.
Yes.
So the 8-year has the highest concentration of silicon nitride, has the highest concentration of polysilazane, and the silicon carbide.
Okay.
So high chemical resistance,
Yes.
high fracturing resistance,
Yeah.
but maybe just a little less gloss than the other ones.
And it's still, I can tell you, it's still very glossy.
It's a little less,
When Ivan
yeah.
says a little less, or it's still, these are still all premium coatings, obviously.
Yeah.
So it was very glossy, and on that black Audi RS6, it was just
Yeah.
nuts. But for me, so all that technology, so this is your flagship. And so despite which ones you're getting, they're all, one thing I noticed, again, very easy to apply.
Right.
So I think that was very important for you, is to not waste time
No.
on tough application. We still, unfortunately to this day, have some coatings that are grabbier on removal, that they're more prone to high spots. You really have a limited time frame to start leveling and buffing, and so people are there with chronometers and going around with inspection lamps. And
Yeah.
of course, you should always inspect your work. But I think these they're obviously meant for the DIYer, but professionals can use them as well because they're so efficient as far as value is concerned.
Yeah.
So it's not because they're called DIY detail that they're only meant for consumers.
No.
Yeah, I think people need to change their mentality. These are professional grade products
Right.
that DIYers can use.
Yeah, and if you're a professional detailer out there, if you're applying the coatings in your shop, guess what? You are doing it yourself. So,
Yeah.
the DIY is doing it yourself, but not in the context of do it yourself, or it's not a lesser grade coating.
Correct.
I'd put it up against most, if not any, professional grade coating on the market for durability, for gloss, for slickness, all those nice characteristics,
Yeah.
plus the ease of application.
Absolutely. And what
Yeah.
are we looking at as far as releasing the vehicles to customers? What is the curing time on this?
1 hour.
So that same 1 hour, just like the C6.
Yeah.
That's very good. So, and maintenance, is there anything different compared to C6 with these coatings?
No, maintenance is just as easy. Keep your car clean, keep it decontaminated as necessary. Don't be afraid of water spot remover. Water spot remover is your friend.
Yes.
One question I often get is, why don't we have a wheel coating? And we don't have a wheel coating because you don't need a wheel coating. The clear coat on your paint is the same as the clear coat on your wheel, is the same, and it's all plastic that we're dealing with.
Yes.
Your headlights are plastic, your taillights are plastic, your piano black is plastic. All that is plastic on the vehicle. A coating is protecting plastic. And on your wheel, the wheel actually doesn't get that much abuse. People think, oh, the
Harsh
wheel,
environment, yeah.
yeah, harsh environment. Yeah, there's a bit of heat there, there's a bit of brake dust, but think of the fender right behind the wheel. It's having all that stuff thrown up on it. That's
Like
a worse
sandblasting,
environment.
yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of detailers and a lot of home enthusiasts as well, the first thing they do when they wash their wheel, they throw on a very harsh APC, or a very high
Wheel and tire
caustic,
cleaner,
wheel
pH 12, pH 13.
yeah, exactly. They don't need it. If your wheel is coated, you shouldn't need more than your soap or your rinseless wash to clean your wheels.
And if you do see that it's masked, perhaps
Right.
with some minerals,
Yeah.
then water spot remover.
Right. Not a lot of people think of using a water spot remover on their wheels because they don't see water spots.
Yes.
But think of a water spot remover as a mineral dissolver.
Yes.
And if you look at it that way, you have all these minerals because you're driving down the road. Yes, your wheels are hotter than the paint. And you're going through that puddle, or you're getting the spray all around the wheels and it's moving in there. And what's happening is that water is drying faster on the wheel. And when it's drying faster on the wheel, it's leaving those minerals behind.
Yes.
We don't see it because it's covered in one sheet of minerals as opposed to water spots.
Exactly.
So we don't think of using a water spot remover. But you're going to revive or
rejuvenate.
re-expose your coating
Yes.
when you use a water spot remover. And that-
Slightly acidic in nature.
Yeah,
so
slightly
to help
acidic.
combat the minerals that are on there.
yeah.
And the same thing with your paint as well. When you're talking about chemical decontamination,
Yes.
of course you can use iron removers, very recommended. Yes, you can use them on ceramic coated vehicles.
Yes.
They can resist that, no problem. But that will help remove the brake dust, industrial fallout. But then you also get the minerals. So that's a different component
Right.
that the iron remover will not remove.
Exactly.
And that the acidic type nature of that component will be able to dissolve, or at least help make more soluble the minerals that are on the paint, and wash them away or rinse them away when you're rinsing the vehicle.
Exactly. And another thing I see people do,
Yep.
I get ragged on a lot, and on the first BMW I coated, I grabbed a wheel and body brush and started going at your paint with it.
Yes, I remember that, yeah.
And you almost had a heart attack.
Yes.
Yeah. But you also saw that it did absolutely no
Nothing.
damage whatsoever to the paint.
Yeah.
But that brush is safe to use on paint, it's safe to use on wheels, why we call it a wheel and body brush.
Yeah.
But there are some brushes that people use on wheels that they would definitely never use on paint.
No.
And if you did, you would scratch the paint. So what are you doing to your wheels?
Exactly.
You're
the same
scratching
thing.
them.
You're scratching them, absolutely.
And you know, if you have the gloss black wheels, so you see every scratch. But there are a lot of wheels that are silver color, you don't see the scratching.
No, but they're there.
They're there, yeah. So
and another misconception too that I want to talk about is, and I'm going to take it out from here. So people say you can't clay coatings. Well, with traditional clay bars, you can't or really shouldn't because they're really abrasive.
Right.
But you guys have a DIY detail, what we call the synthetic perforated decontamination towel. Did I get that right?
Close enough.
It's based. what is it? What is the exact term?
Perforated synthetic decontamination.
Okay, there you go.
PSD.
PSD. So this is a synthetic man-made material. So it's very sticky. It's on a microfiber backing. So this, if you use it, of course, you're going to dip it in a rinseless solution.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have it as a lubricant. Always use it on a lubricated surface. If you want to keep your car soap on there, no problem.
Yeah.
But this, they can help to decontaminate a ceramic coated vehicle, right?
Right. Ceramic coated or not coated, it's not going to mar the paint if you follow the instructions and do it correctly.
Yeah.
And that is having the proper lubrication, folding it, and not applying pressure to it. A lot of people apply pressure, and that's where they get the problem. Or they'll take the towel out of the package like you did, and just slap it on the paint and go.
Fold it in fours.
Yeah.
Damp, rinseless, dampened towel. So you got that as a lubricant.
Or you can use it in your soap
in your
as well.
soapy solution. So always it has to glide on the surface.
Yeah.
So this will help pick up any of those impurities, whatever's left over or embedded in the clear coat.
Right.
You're decontaminating that, and once again, re-exposing the properties, the original properties of your coating that are on there.
Yeah, and it's great for, my favorite lubricant with that is iron remover.
Okay.
Because A, it saves you a lot on iron remover. Iron remover is one of the chemicals that is A, very expensive, and B, doesn't necessarily have a pleasant fragrance.
Yeah. The TGA in there, it smells like rotten eggs.
It's sulfur.
Yeah.
And the human nose is extremely good at picking up sulfur smells.
Good for us because it's for our safety too.
Right.
So our DNA has made us to be able to fight or flight. You definitely want to flight.
Yeah, it's, I think, like at 2 parts per million, we can detect that it's there.
Yes.
So no matter what you're doing, that sulfur smell is going to stay there. But we use less than an ounce to do a vehicle.
Yeah.
Because we're 1 spray on the towel, 1 spray on the panel, combine the two, do your agitation.
You'll see me do it, by the way, in the decon wash video. That's what I did. Yeah.
And you use so much less of the product.
It's very important too for anyone who is asking. So with my, let's say I get the perforated synthetic decontamination towel.
Yeah.
Can I use any iron remover? You had mentioned that it's important to use some that have no solvents in them, right?
Exactly. Some do, some don't. You'll have to do a test.
So this one here does not contain solvents, the DIY Detail iron remover. So I guess the solvents will start breaking down the clay media, right? That's
exactly.
So that's what you don't want.
And also the solvents make the paint a little softer, more susceptible to marring.
There you go.
But with our iron remover, it also has surfactants in it. The surfactants help, again, with lubrication.
Yes.
And with deep cleaning.
Absolutely.
So,
So we got the full lineup. So we know about these 3 coatings. Oh, one thing I wanted to ask. So the DIY Detail, I've heard about the stack.
Yes.
So you hear that every now and then.
Right.
What is that, and what combination are we talking about in the DIY Detail?
So the most popular stack is the 8 stacked with the 3.
So and 8 as the base layer?
As the base layer.
3 are on top.
Right. And there's a time restriction.
Okay.
2 to 8 hours.
Once you're done applying your 8 year?
Right.
2 to 3 hours?
2 to 8 hours
2 to
later.
8 hours, okay.
Right.
So you have a 6-hour window?
You have a 6-hour window. So you can go for lunch and have it a little extended lunch if you want. Not a big deal. But what happens is we're actually not putting one coating on top of each other.
Okay.
The 8-year coating at that point is still malleable. It feels glossy and everything, but there's a chemical reaction going on that we're actually combining the two. We're actually making a completely new entity.
Okay.
And that's what the stack is. And it gives you gloss and slickness almost to the point of the C6 Hydro Light.
Okay.
And then the other one is the 5 and 3 stack. So 5 on the bottom, 3 on the top. And again, better slickness, better water spot resistance, and better everything.
Yes.
And again, our hierarchy in coatings: 3-year, 5-year, 8-year, 5-3 stack, 8-3 stack, Hydro Light, and then the Pro Hydro,
so
the Pro C6
people who want
coatings.
the best of the best, in the consumer line, it would be the C6 Hydro Light.
Yes,
And if you
definitely.
want the best of the best in the professional line, well, then you have your choice of Diamond Gloss or C6 Hydro. There's no difference really in performance. It's what you want, prefer gloss, or if you prefer the hydrophobic properties. But as far as both of them are lifetime coatings
yeah,
considered,
definitely, yeah.
both of them are just as easy to apply. They still have the chemical resistance, the whole 9 yards. It's just they're, I think, skewed a little slightly more for gloss or more for hydrophobics.
Yes.
But even with both, you're getting, with the gloss, you're still getting crazy hydrophobics. With the C6 Hydro, you're still getting, as I can see, insane gloss.
Yeah.
So no worries there. It's just whatever your personal preference is. So whether you sign up through the website, by the way, I'll have the links again in the description under the video. So whether you want to sign up if you're a professional detailer, if you're looking to apply the C6 Hydro Light on your own, consumers will be able to buy that. If you're a pro by yourself as well, you can still apply the C6 Hydro Light. Or if you wanted to know more about the DIY detail, individual coatings as well, they're all fantastic choices. I'm expecting some, either a few or many of them, again, to be in the 2024 Pan the Organizer Car Detailing Products Awards video for my top products of the year, where I'm going to be following this one very closely because I'm very intrigued. But DIY Detail is one of the brands that took home a lot of awards in the 2023 awards. So they're a brand that's been there now for a little over a year at this point, closing on 2 years.
June 2022.
That's amazing. So in just 2 years, I think you guys have seen, by the way, they have a YouTube channel. If you haven't seen the channel, please go watch them. DIY Detail. He's there with his partner, Nick McGurk, and they do tutorials. They give a lot of education, lots of cool stuff for you to check out and to feel more comfortable, not only using the products, but you're going to learn a lot. I still learn a lot when I talk with Yvan every single time. He's been in the detailing business for over 40 years. I've been detailing for roughly 27. He's been there longer, way longer than I am, and doing it at a much higher level. So again, Yvan, thanks for everything.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
looking forward to putting this puppy to the test.
Yeah.
And my viewers too, I'm sure, are looking forward to have multiple updates in the future. But check out everything they make. They also have, you have a YouTube channel for C6 as well.
Yeah, C6 Ceramics has a YouTube channel. It's still in development, so
There'll be more and more content.
Yeah, more and more content. We're still trying to find our way on that one. But no, the C6 Ceramics has a YouTube channel.
Again, thanks for being on the show.
My
I
pleasure.
want to also thank our camera woman, Sylvie, his wife. Fantastic detailer. You're going to see many shots in the video where we applied this, but go watch the decon wash video, so the first wash. Go watch the application of the coating itself. So whether it's polishing, we use the DIY standard gold, the gold standard polish.
Right.
We used the app after that, and then we finished with the C6 Hydro application. It's just popping. It's out of control. As my friend Eddie Cologne from the EC Details website would say, it's popping. I hope I'm saying that right, Eddie?
Yeah.
So guys, yeah, check everything out in the description under the video, and hopefully we'll have you again for many other videos. I always like having Yvan around to do some pretty cool content. If you enjoyed this, by the way, smash the thumbs up button. Go support them on the DIY Detail YouTube channel and C6 Ceramics YouTube channel as well. And guys, in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.